our topic for today is all about addition and subtraction of polynomials. Now, in adding and subtracting polynomials, you can only add or subtract like terms. When we talk about like terms, these are the terms with the same literal coefficient. When we talk about literal coefficient, these are variables with the same exponents. We are only going to add the numerical coefficients of every term. For example, let's have 4x plus 5x. Our first step is to check whether they are like terms. In this case, the literal coefficient of 4x is x, and the literal coefficient of 5x is also x. Therefore, they are like terms, and we can actually combine them together. In this case, we're just going to add the numerical coefficients, which are 4 and 5. And then we're just going to copy the variable x. 4 plus 5, that will be equal to 9x. For our next example, we have here negative 15x squared plus 6x squared. Again, let us check whether they are like terms. The literal coefficient of our first term is x squared, and the literal coefficient of our second term is also x squared. Therefore, we can add them. In this case, we're just going to add the numerical coefficients, which are negative 15 plus 6, and then we're just going to copy x squared. Now remember, in adding two integers with different signs, all we need to do is to subtract the integers, and then we copy the sign of the larger integer with the larger absolute value. In this case, we have here 15 minus 6, that will be equal to 9. And since the absolute value of negative 15 is higher than the absolute value of positive 6, our sign is negative. And then we're just simply going to copy x squared. Therefore, our final answer is negative 9x squared. Our next example, we have 9x plus 4y plus 3x plus 2y. In this case, all we need to do is to look for the terms with the same literal coefficient. We have here 9x and 3x, and we also have here 4y and 2y. We are just going to combine the terms with the same literal coefficient. So we have 9 plus 3, and then we just simply copy the variable x, plus 4 plus 2, and then we copy their variable y. Simplifying that, 9 plus 3, that will be equal to 12x. 4 plus 2, that will be equal to positive 6y. You have 12x plus 6y. Next, let's have 14ab minus 5a plus ab minus 2a. Again, our first step is to look for the terms with the same literal coefficient. We have here 14ab and ab. We also have negative 5a and negative 2a. So in this case, we will be combining 14ab and ab. You will have here 14 plus 1. Always remember, class, that if you don't have any numerical coefficient written on our term, the numerical coefficient of that term is 1. And then we're going to copy AB plus negative 5 plus negative 2, and then we copy A. Now simplifying that, you will have 15 AB plus negative 5 plus negative 2 will be equal to negative 7a. And since your answer here is negative, we will be having 15ab minus 7a. For our next example, let's have x squared plus 2x plus 7. And then we have here 5x squared plus 4x plus 1. Now in this case, again, we're going to look for the terms with the same literal coefficient. We have here x squared and 5x squared, 2x and 4x, positive 7 and positive 1. Now always remember, class, you cannot combine x squared from x because they have different exponents. Therefore, they are not like terms. Now simplifying this, you will have here 1 plus 5, and then you have x squared, plus 2 plus 4, and then you have x, and then the sum of the constant terms, we have 7 plus 1. Simplifying this, you will have 6x squared plus 6x plus 8. And that is going to be your final answer. Next, let's have 2a squared b plus 4a minus 1 plus 6a plus 11. So in this case, again, you're going to look for the terms with the same literal coefficient. In this case, for 2a squared, as you can see, we don't have any like terms for that. So all we need to do is to copy 2a squared b, since we don't have any like terms for 2a squared b. Next, we have 4a and 6a. And we also have negative 1 and positive 11 as our constant terms. In this case, we will have 2a squared b plus 4 plus 6a plus negative 1 plus 11. Simplifying that, all we need to do is to bring down 2a squared b. And then simplifying this, you will have positive 10a. And then negative 1 plus 10 plus 11, that will be equal to positive 10. Therefore, your answer is 2a squared b plus 10a plus. Now let's have subtraction of polynomials. Just like what I've said earlier, in adding and subtracting polynomials, you can only add or subtract like terms. Now in this case, let's have 9x minus 4x. Let us check if they are like terms. The literal coefficient of our term here is x. Same thing with our second term. Therefore, we can simplify them. In this case, we will just simply subtract their numerical coefficients. We have here 9 minus 4, and then we copy x. 9 minus 4 is 5. And then we're just going to copy their literal coefficient or the variable x. And our final answer is 5x. Next, let's have 15a squared minus 18a squared. In this case, we can actually use the process of CPO that we had when we were subtracting integers. In this case, we will just apply CPO for the numerical coefficients. You have here CPO. Copy the first numerical coefficient, which is 15. Change the minus sign to plus. And then get the opposite of 18, which is negative 18. And then we copy a squared. Now, adding two integers with different signs, all we need to do is to subtract them and then copy the sign of the larger one with the larger absolute value. In this case, 18 minus 15 will be 3, and your sign will be negative, and then we copy a squared. Therefore, your answer is negative 3a squared. Next, let's solve 4x squared plus 5y minus the quantity of 2x squared minus 7y. In this case, if you have a binomial or a trinomial, for you to easily subtract the polynomials, we can actually use the vertical method. First is we need to copy the first given, which is 4x squared plus 5y. And then all you need to do is to align their like terms. For 4x squared, its like term is 2x squared. And then for 5y, its like term is negative 7y. And then we will apply the process of CPO. We copy the first, change the operation to plus, and then get the opposite of the second. So from positive 2, you will now have negative 2x squared. From negative 7y, you will now have positive 7y. And then you proceed with addition with the new signs. You have 4x squared plus negative 2x squared will be 2x squared. And then 5y plus positive 7y will now become 12y. And this is going to be your final. 4a squared b plus 5ab minus 2 minus the quantity of 3a squared b minus 2ab minus 9. Again, all we need to do is to do CPO. What we're going to do here is to copy our first given. We have 4a squared b plus 5ab minus 2. And then we're going to change the minus sign to plus sign. And then get the opposite sign of each numerical coefficient of the second given. So from positive 3a squared b, you will now have negative 3a squared b. Negative 2ab will now become positive 2ab. And then negative 9 will now become positive 9. And then we'll proceed with addition of integers. So 4 plus negative 3a squared b will be equal to a squared b. No need to write Next, 5ab plus 2ab, you will now have 7ab. Next, for negative 2 plus 9, you will have positive 7. And this is going to be your final answer.